Okay, in this video we're going to talk about Captain Giuseppe Vitali, 1845 to 1921. Though he wasn't an engineer, he was a guy that designed the magazine that the Italians eventually adopted for their rifle. And here's a little bit, I can find barely any information on him. But Giuseppe Vitali, 1845-1921, was born in Bergamo and was promoted to lieutenant in the Italian artillery in 1870. Between 1883 and 1890, he worked at the arms factory at Torino, and it was there that he developed his various magazine designs. Now, when we go, and here's what, this is an example of what was issued: the plate, the magazine floor spring, and the stripper clips that would be used to load it. Now, if we go to the other page and we look here, and this is the magazine development for the Italian Vitali. I'm going to read on this section about it. It shows, on this side of the book, it shows all the different magazine when they decided, the Italians, to go from a single shot to a magazine version of the rifle, all the different types they tested. And when it comes to Vitali, it says various designs ranging from number 1 to number 12. So this guy had like 12 different designs he was doing for him. Design number 1 was a single shot Vitali with a quick loader device. Design number 2 was a 13 round U-shaped feeding magazine formed around the receiver, which there's a photograph of it here. This is number 2. This here, which is some kind of unusual thing. Design number 6 consisted of a tubular magazine running through the butt, similar to that of a Spencer. Designs number 9 and 10 were variations of a tubular magazine similar to the Swiss Vitali magazine. And I believe this here, number 10, this is a picture of his example here. So there's a couple of Vitali's designs here in photographs. As I said, similar to Swiss Vitali magazine design, tubular. Design number 11 was a 5-shot detachable box magazine, and number 12 consisted of a fixed 4-round box magazine, which I believe is this here, is a little cutaway drawing. Oh, I can't. Is this here, and this is a cutaway of number 12 is what they eventually designed. Now, this individual also, somehow the Dutch used his a type of his magazine, which is similar but not exact. If you look, we'll look at the two of them side by side when we examine the rifles. It is very similar to the Italian, but it is not exactly the same. The shape of the magazine and that, it's a little bit different. So that's who this guy was. Giuseppe Vitali, I guess, was just an Italian officer working at the local armories, coming up with, he was an innovator and an inventor, and tried designing all these different types magazines, which some of these are quite unusual. The French had something strange like this for the Gras. It looked like a little tin box to the side that, would load stuff in that. So there was all kinds of strange and odd things going on at that time in the development of firearms. And I guess this guy had a whole bunch of ideas, and some of them actually were used. And again, all of this came about with repeaters because All right, like I was saying, I wanted to get my dates correct and that. The reason there was a huge thing about converting all of our single shot guns into repeaters and every government was pressed into it. It was something called the Russian or Russo-Turkish War of 1877 to 1878. Now, what happened in this war between Russia and the Ottoman Empire, or the Turks, was the Russians, during the war, the Russians had a vast superior force. And I mean, it was like 100-some thousand to 35, 40,000 Turks. And what it was is at a certain town in a strong point, and I'll go over this, the Turks had purchased a large quantity of Winchester 1866 repeating rifles. And they held off, 5-1 or whatever it was, a vastly larger force of Russians and inflicted extremely heavy casualties. This is why the outcome of this one battle and the war, and I'll talk about it in general, why everybody freaked out and was scrambling and trying to convert whatever guns they had to repeaters or go through the whole crazy process of selecting a different style of gun. Okay, and a lot of countries that didn't have money in that ended up just adopting something like this to where you took your existing gun and added a magazine. And that's why you see all these bizarre adaptations and strange versions of this trying to catch up. So that's the story of Vitali and the big arms rush to convert everything into a magazine-fed gun.